It's race day and it's a special one today for two reasons. First of all, it's literally my local race. I can see the start line from my house, which is lovely. Number two, it's my 40th birthday today. So what a better way to see in a new decade than running a race. Plan for today, it's a bit different to what I was expecting. My legs are feeling a little bit dead, a little bit done in because I've been building a staircase of decking for the last 2.5 days, which is not great race prep. I'm still going to try and go for as much as I can, but I think my legs might be the limiter today. With that being said, I'm going to aim for like 4:10 a kilometre and then see if we can pick it up in the back half. So let's get started and I'll tell you more about this race while we're on the route.
2, 1, off you go, Wayne.
And we're underway. Nice fast start to this race because we get that little lead up where we can go into it. And right now I'm just thinking, don't go out too fast. One of the biggest benefits I have for this race is this is pretty much the course I run every single day. So I know where the hills are, I know where the turns are, and I think a lot of these people probably don't know how many hills are in the second half. It's got quite a severe split actually. So in the first half you've got 20 metres of ascent. In the second you got 37 metres. So it's really worth just holding back in that first half so you've got more energy for those hills. So right now I'm just trying to calm myself down a little bit, get down to that 4 minutes 10 a kilometre. Now this is a very small event. I think there's only about 330 people in total, but it is a really nicely run event. They've been doing it for quite a few years now. So we've settled into the pace a little bit more. I've gone a bit slower than 4:10, probably just to make up for that burst at the beginning. I have rolling pace on my watch, which basically gives you an average of the last 30 seconds of running. So it should try and stop these big up and down spikes. Now this gentleman who's just passed me on the right, you're going to be seeing him quite a bit for the first half of the race. We keep going backwards and forwards, taking the lead, and he helped me just keep my pace up. And now we're approaching the first hill of the race. You will come back down this hill at the end, which is quite nice, but it throws you straight into it at the start. Doesn't look too steep, but it's a gradual one which then gets really steep at the end. But I'm just noticing I've slowed my pace down and my heart rate is just in the threshold zone, which is perfect for where I want to be right now. That means that it's not too taxing my body and I should be able to keep it up for a little bit. Okay, we're approaching the business end of this hill. I can see the top in sight. The guy in the Puma Fast R's in front of me is just getting away a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. I was hoping to sort of latch onto him, but we got some up and down, so he might be faster on the uphills, I might be faster on the downhills, we'll see. And we just got that first kilometre done, and that was a 4:11, so I'm really happy with that start to the race. So going up that hill has pushed up my heart rate quite a bit. I'm now up the top of my threshold zone and I don't want to push it too much further than this at the moment, otherwise I'll completely fall apart at the end. But hopefully I'm going to be coming around this corner and then there's going to be a nice bit of downhill and then the only flat section on the course. So hopefully my heart rate will drift back down during this bit. Let's have a look. I was actually peaking into the maximum zone there, which is not a good sign. In very general terms, if I start going into that maximum zone, that means my body is producing more lactic acid than it can actually clear out in time, and usually you can only sustain an effort of that level for, it can be like 20 to 30 minutes depending on how well trained you are, and this is at least a 32-33 minute race for me, so I don't want to be hitting that part just yet. I want to be saving that for the second half. But as you can see, my heart rate's coming back down again now quite nicely. My pace is sticking around 4 minutes a kilometre and I'm fine with that because I know this bit is all downhill, so I'm just using the hills just to relax into a little bit. And I've overtaken our friend in the black and the Puma Fast R's, but we'll see him again in a bit. So I think this is the only truly flat bit on the course. So let's see what my pace does. Let's see if I do lock in with that 4:10 or whether I'm holding a bit higher speed because I'm following this guy in front. I have to say the weather for today's run was pretty much perfect for the time of year. It was about 22 degrees and pretty much overcast for most of the race as well, so it didn't get too hot. It was a bit of a breeze, but it wasn't too noticeable either, so I couldn't have asked for much better with the conditions, but I could have asked for a lot more with the race prep in the week beforehand. But this wasn't my A goal race, this is just a B race, just for a bit of fun and to push myself and break up my training a little bit. Speaking of my training, that was week 11 and it was a bit of a deload week with this race coming up, but I still managed to get about 47k in total. And if you watched the last video, you'll know that I changed the way I'm training as well to focus more on heart rate zones, and that's had a massive impact already. So my heart rate has been getting lower at faster speeds, which is really good, and my tempo sessions have not been absolutely destroying me. So it's a great progression straight away. And so the 2k split has come in, and that's a 4:03. It's a little bit fast, but there was quite a lot of descent in that kilometre, so it's probably brought up a bit by just running downhill, to be honest, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now I want to try and keep it around that 4:10 because we've got some rolling up and down hills for the next section. This is an open road course, so you do need to be aware of traffic, and you'll see some coming past in a little bit. People were really good, they were slowing down, letting the runners take charge, which is really nice, but it's just something to be aware of. So that's 3k done in a 4:08, very happy with that. As you can see, the traffic's starting to come past now, and I've still got my battle on with my friend here, but I'm going to overtake him in a minute, and that's going to be the last we see of him of the race. I was hoping he would come with me a little bit, but I think the hills just started to get to him a little bit too much, because although it's only a 2% gradient, when it's rolling like this, it really does sap your legs, especially in this heat. Uh-oh, my heart rate is really starting to pick up a bit now, but we are getting into that. Only about 20 minutes left to go, so doesn't matter so much. It's going to hurt, but it should hurt. And to be honest, at this point, I was really starting to feel it in my legs now. It wasn't so much my aerobic system. That felt pretty good. It felt like I was working, but not too bad. But my legs just felt tired, so tired. Now this is where my tactic is starting to pay off. I am starting to catch people up now, and it's just given me a nice little target up ahead that I can latch onto and just catch people up. If you look on the left here, you've actually got Cooling Castle. It's a lovely wedding venue, and it's also where Jules Holland lives. So when I'm running around here, I often see him out on his bike with his son, which he was today, but I didn't manage to catch him up. And that is 4k done. That's another 4:08, which I'm really happy with. I know this isn't going to be a negative split course as we go through the halfway point in 1640, which would be, what, 33:20. Negative splitting when you've got most of the hills in the second half of the race is incredibly hard, but I wanted to try and negative split it by my exertion, so put a lot more effort in the second half and keep the performance up rather than worrying about the pace. And I'm still hunting people down, so we've passed a few more. I can see another gentleman up ahead. Let's see how long it takes me to catch him up. We've got another big hill coming up. There's two big hills and then two little hills left to go, so let's see if we can get him coming up this big hill as a car pulls out and tries to run this guy over. Again, my heart rate is still just hovering around just dipping into that maximum, so I'm feeling pretty good about that right now as well. Now we are proper into this hill. It says 2% gradient, but I'm pretty sure it's more than that. I think that might be lagging up behind a little bit. As you can see, my pace has slowed right down in the bottom left-hand corner, going down to nearly 430, but my heart rate is climbing. So that shows that although I'm slowing down, I'm putting in more effort just to try and get up this hill. There we go, 5%. That's more like it. But we're near the top already, and then we've got a nice gradual downhill before the next uphill climb. So as we're going down this downhill bit, and hopefully my heart rate is starting to settle a bit, let me know in the comments, do you have like a local race that's really close to you that you really enjoy and it almost feels like just one of your normal runs? Yeah, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know that, and maybe even visit it in the future. We have just passed the 5k mark as well, and that was a 4:21. But again, that's going to be one of the slower ones because it had that massive hill at the end of it, and to be fair, it had some hills at the beginning of it as well. So you just see me taking a drink there, and I'm so glad I did. I only had like 2 sips throughout the whole race, but I don't know if I'd have been able to do it without those 2 small sips because I got really thirsty really quickly. And I think that just helped get me through to the finish line. And rather than relying on the one water station that was halfway in the course, I could drink to my own first. So that's why I always take a bottle with me on races. But what do you do? Do you take a bottle with you or a backpack? Or do you just rely on the water on the course? So this is the first of the little hills. It's got a slight gradient here, and then you've got like a short, sharp hill up and around this corner before you got another little descent and another little hill as well. So you need to really conserve your energy in these bits because you've got the one absolutely massive hill coming up, so you don't want to completely blow yourself up before you get to that. And we're still passing people as well, so now my next target is the guy in blue. Can I get him before we hit this next hill? Unfortunately, we didn't make it quite in time, but now that we're going up the hill, I run this all the time, so I know how much power I can put in, and that's really helping me just get up here and take that position from him. That sounds pretty harsh, but it's something that just keeps me motivated and keeps me moving when my heart rate starts climbing and it starts getting really tough. Just helps me have something to focus on and to get up to. But now that we've moved past him, I can't actually really see anyone in front. So is that it? Am I going to just have to work all for myself from now on? And we've also just passed 6k, and that's a 4:11. So again, we had some hills in there, and I've managed to pretty much stick to my target pace. I'm really happy with that. So as we round this corner, this is the big one. This is actually a hill that I use for my hill sprints, so I know exactly what it feels like and exactly how long it is. So it gives me a big advantage here, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna suck. So I'm just wondering, how high is my heart rate gonna get to by the time we get to the top of this hill? I think the worst thing about it is you get to this point and it's starting to level out a little bit and you think, oh, thank goodness, we're at the top. But as you can see, we've got some marshals standing there because we've actually got to turn right. And then you're going to be confronted as we round this corner by another lovely hill. But now I can actually see a few people in the distance. Can I chase them down and get another couple of places? So just for context, my very maximum heart rate is 196, and as we're coming around a corner and we're reaching the top of this hill, we're topping out about 187 BPM, so I've still got some room left in the tank there. I'm not completely doing it, but that is still a lot of hard work. Oh, okay, nearly touching 190 there, but still, I'm happy with that. You can see my pace has slowed down quite a bit. I knew that If I just get around this corner, and then there's a little bump, and then you've got a nice long downhill section, and that's where I can make back a lot of this time. So as we round this corner and we just got this little incline left to go, I can let you know that that kilometre, the 7 kilometre, was a 4:20. So 10 seconds slower than the plan, but it had the biggest hills in the whole race. So I'm very happy with that. Now it's a case of getting over this hill, seeing how fast I can do this last kilometre in. That guy in front looks a long way away. He's a good, 100 metres in front of me. So am I going to be able to catch him before we get to the finish? Let's count actually how far he is in front. So he's just gone past that driveway at 29.50. As I come past it, he's about 10 seconds in front of me at the moment. That's a lot to make up over the last kilometre. Let's see what happens. Well, I'm really happy with that actually. So my current pace is around 3:52. I've not let my heart rate drop, so I'm keeping up that hard work. So I know this is the final push. And I'm a lot better at ramping it up over the last kilometre or two rather than doing a sprint finish. So that's what I'm going for here. Just trying to keep that power going. Oh, here he comes. I can feel it coming. I'm keeping that speed up. He seems to be dropping a little bit. I'm going to have him. We've still got about 500 metres-ish to the finish line. He's just had a little look behind there. That's when I know he's mine. And actually, when I went past him, I think he said something like, "Go on, mate." I actually wanted him to come with me and have a little battle, so I said, follow me, but I think he was topping out at that point. So I just had to do it by myself. So as we round this final corner, the pace is still really high, my heart rate is still really high, got about 200 metres-ish to go, and I just want to, right now, just pick up a little bit, and as we turn that final corner, it's time for me to try a sprint finish. Don't think I've got that much left in me, because as I said, my legs are completely done. There's no way I'm catching the guy in front of me, because he's got a good 100 metres on me maybe. But let's see how fast I can get.
Thank you.
There we go, picking up. We got into the 3:30s. Can we get into the 3:20s before the end? I'm happy with this. This is going really well. And the final time was 33 minutes, 33 seconds. And just to wrap things up, that last kilometre was a 3:58, so that was the fastest of the whole run, and I actually averaged for the whole race 4 minutes and 9 seconds a kilometre. So I'm really happy with that performance.
Well, that went pretty much as expected. My legs were very, very tired. As I said, as soon as I got to that 4K point, I could just feel it. I knew those hills were coming up, so I wanted to manage myself, which I think I did pretty well. Very happy with that time for how tired my legs are. If you like the look of this event, it's the first Sunday in July, so come along down to it next year. Actually having a week off next week, pretty much a week off of training and a week off of YouTube, because I'm going with my friends to climb Snowdon. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.